If you're new to Deception Bytes, hit the like and subscribe button and be sure to hit the bell to be notified of future videos. If you wish to support the channel, the links are in the description below. Now, fasten your seatbelt. Here we go. Okay guys, it's Thursday, April 18th. Almost April 19th. It's 11:52 p.m. Eastern Time, and we're going to get into some Q-related news. So, there's lots happening today. It's been a big news day, and boy, it's been hard to keep up with everything, to tell you the truth, because so much is happening and so quickly. Now, because I do have a couple things that I just want to mention. But you've probably already heard about the guy that walked into St. Patrick's Cathedral with gas cans. So I just wanted to mention that. I'm not going to go into it because I think that that's been pretty much covered everywhere. So, and from there, let's go to here, and we're going to get into today in a minute, some of the things that happened today and some of the reactions from the Democrats, which, yeah, well, we'll let you decide how to describe it. I don't even know how to describe it. Anyway, let's start with this. And remember when I said that I just had a feeling that it wouldn't be rebuilt as solely a Catholic church anymore? And this from Rolling Stone: Notre Dame should be rebuilt as a monument to 21st century globalism. I don't know what they mean by program globalism, but according to Rolling Stones, any rebuilding of the Notre Dame Cathedral should be a reflection not of an old France or the France that never was, a non-secular white European France, but a reflection of the France today, a France that is currently in the making. So I had mentioned that before when it burnt down, that there would, whatever went into its place would be sort of a symbolism. There's a lot of symbolism behind the whole thing. We know that this was planned. It was not an accident. It was probably planned for quite some time, because we see now that it was pre-programmed into us through The Simpsons and through that animation iPet Goat 2. So definitely not an accident. So anyway, I'm going to move on from there because I think I've covered the whole Notre Dame thing pretty thoroughly, but I am continuing to keep an eye on it for, developments, because I'm very interested. There's way more to that than meets the eye. So let's get out of here. I don't want to get too deeply into that, and let's go back. And I want you to see this, which, again, we're not going to get into too deeply, but I want you to be aware of it. Baptist pastor says Bank of America shut down all of his church's bank accounts. Now, we heard that this yesterday, remember, with Chase Bank saying we don't want to do business with those types of people. What types of people are they? Oh, Christians, Make America Great fans of Donald Trump, patriots, those sorts of people. So anyway, yeah, this is a little alarming. Is it going to be hard in the future for patriots and Christians and so forth to find a bank? I don't know. But Pastor Stephen Anderson of the Faithful Word Baptist Church in Tempe, Arizona, said Monday on YouTube that Bank of America shut down all the bank accounts of his church. This morning I found out that the Bank of America shut down all our bank accounts, froze our accounts without notice, and we can't even get our money out. Anderson said on YouTube, we can't even walk into the bank and withdraw our money. They just froze everything, shut everything down. They're supposedly going to send us a cashier's check in like 2 weeks for all the money that was in our church bank account. But in the meantime, they just took all our money away, Anderson said. I don't know about you, but I find that a little scary, because if they can do that to a church, can't they do that to you or I? I'm pretty sure they could. Anderson has attracted controversy over the years due to his fundamentalist preachings on homosexuality, which, by the way, should have no bearing on where you bank. since when did a bank become judge, jury, and executioner? Hello? It's alarming. Chase Bank shuts down Proud Boys leader's personal bank account, big league politics. So this isn't the first time it's happened. Conservative commentator Martina Markota also had her business account closed by Chase Bank. Chase Bank shuts down Lady Alchemy creator and Trump supporter Martina Markota's bank account. Conservative activist Joe Biggs also had his Chase account closed, though the decision was later reversed after widespread outrage. Joe Biggs, unsuspended from Chase Bank's calls for boycott, and all three suspected their accounts were closed due to their political views. We're entering new territory when unelected bankers can close down people's bank accounts over their political and religious views. I thought we were living in a free America. Isn't that why people came to the shores of America in the first place? Religious freedom? I think you'll find that it was. Yeah, and look what's happening on our shores now. Bet they're not closing down certain other religious bank accounts, if you know what I mean, and I think you do. Yeah, so I wanted to be sure that you are aware of that, because that is alarming. Really unbelievable that banks are now, shutting people's bank accounts down because of their religious or their political views. Alarming. All right, now let's go back because there's plenty more. And let's go to this. I think you'll enjoy this. I know you'll enjoy this. Let me turn it down a bit so you don't get your ears blasted. Make you just want to get up and dance. It does to me, because I'm just so happy, and to see newspapers having to report that there's no evidence of collusion or obstruction it's pretty sweet in my world. All right, let's go back. Plenty more. Now this from Eric Trump. Full meltdown at CNN. Fun to watch. As I've always said, they would rather see our country fail than my father succeed. And unfortunately, he's right. And I think that's very sad. And I've, used the analogy of an airplane many times. It's like, being on an airplane and praying that the pilot fail. Yeah, you don't do that. We're all in the same boat. If the president fails, we all fail, right? We want our president to do well, and I think we should be happy that he's innocent. But that's not the reaction. And I shouldn't say it surprises me, because it doesn't, but it's alarming. You would think. Like if you were working for a company and the head of the company was, accused of horrendous, nefarious, money laundering or whatever. And you're all kind of holding your breath because if he's found guilty, it's going to have repercussions all the way down. And then all of a sudden he's found innocent. Now, don't you think all those employees would be like, yes, yes? Well, no. Apparently not. Not for the Democrats anyways. Doesn't seem to be such a good day for them. Now, this is the link to the actual Mueller report. I'm not going to go out there now, I'm going to leave that link in the description for you guys to peruse at your will or leisure. You can look at it if you wish or not. But it is out there. It's 400 and some pages long. And there's a lot of reading in it. There's no question. I didn't get through all of it today. And I am a speed reader, seriously. But there's certainly no evidence there at all. None. Zip. Zero. Nada. So I will leave that in the description so that those of you that do want to take a look at it or read it can do so. It's in a PDF format. All right, now let's look at this. This is, we're going to go to Jim Jordan's Twitter account. Okay, Democrat members of Congress should take a deep breath and read the special counsel's report before jumping to conclusions. The Attorney General concluded that what we have long suspected: no collusion, no obstruction. It would be a miscarriage of justice to use cherry-picked bits of information from this report to sow further divisiveness and spread conspiracies that serve only to undermine our democratic institutions. One thing, however, is clear with the release of the report today: this sad chapter of American history is behind us. It's time to turn back to the people's work of improving the efficiency, economy, and effectiveness of how their tax dollars are spent. Despite the special counsel's finding, it seems nothing will stop Democrats in Congress from trying to get the president at all costs. We just learned this week that they have a memoranda of understanding to coordinate their attacks. It would be a shame for the onslaught of misguided, politicized investigations to continue. The American people expect more from those who represent them in Washington. Well spoken, absolutely well spoken. And have a lot of respect for Jim Jordan, to tell you the truth. Didn't know too much about him before all this started, but now a lot of these names have just become, household names. In fact, some of these people now are more famous than some of the people in Hollywood. So it's interesting. People have suddenly become very interested in politics, which is a good thing. All right, now let's go to this. This is Trump's speech. Donald J. Trump, after AG Barr press conference, it's called no collusion, no obstruction. There never was, by the way, and there never will be. And we do have to get to the bottom of these things. Now let's listen to him.
And they're having a good day. I'm having a good day, too. It was called no collusion, no obstruction. I'm having a good day. There never was, by the way, and there never will be. And we do have to get to the bottom of these things, I will say. And this should never happen. I say this in front of my friends, wounded warriors, and I just call them warriors because we just shook hands and they look great. They look so good and so beautiful. But I say it in front of my friends, this should never happen to another president again.
That's right.
This hoax, it should never happen to another president again. Thank you.
All right, now let's go back and look at this. This is from Donald Trump's personal account, his Twitter account. As I have been saying all along, no obstruction, no collusion, no obstruction. Let's listen.
The Russia investigation.
That's your headline. Report no collusion.
The Russia investigation is finally over. The news caught many people by surprise.
This is a win for this president who, for now 2 years, has essentially been screaming there was no Russia collusion. He is backed up by Mueller.
The results are in. And take a look at the headlines from the Washington Post to the New York Post. They're what the president wanted.
The president has just been exonerated. I mean, can we just take a step back and focus on the fact that this is a nearly 2-year investigation that has swirled around the president since day one of his presidency, and he has just been exonerated.
And Robert Mueller gave a very clear answer, and that was that there was no collusion.
And it is, in fairness, what the president has been saying.
This was what all the questions surrounded the president.
They've cleared
Did he
him.
obstruct justice? They just cleared him.
This is a huge win, hands down, black and white, for President Trump.
You gotta love that. I just love it. I could watch these things all day, all night, because I just feel it's wonderful to hear these people that have been, saying these things about him, and hear on mainstream media them even saying, like, to be fair to the president, this is what he's been saying. It's very sweet. All right, sweet justice. Okay, let's go back and see what else I've got for you. And again, this is from Donald Trump's Twitter. And this is a little bit different. Whoops. I hate it when they... Okay. There we go.
And I'm fighting back, not for me. I'm fighting back for the people of this country.
No collusion.
There was no collusion.
No collusion.
No collusion.
There is absolutely no collusion.
There's no collusion. The fact is, there is no collusion.
No collusion.
There's no collusion. This is a investigation where many millions of dollars has been spent, and there's no collusion.
This is a win for this president who, for now 2 years, has essentially been screaming there was no Russia collusion. He is backed up by Mueller.
Maybe every time he said no collusion, but more than 231 times so far, maybe every time he said no collusion, he was telling the truth.
This was an illegal takedown that failed. And hopefully somebody's going to look at the other side.
Yeah. Hopefully somebody's going to look at the other side. Yeah, it better not just be hopefully. There better be somebody looking at the other side, because we want justice. We want justice. This man was framed. He was framed. And if they can do it to him, they can do it to you, and they can do it to me. This needs to never happen to another president. And, Donald Trump has said that, and he is absolutely right. We cannot afford to have this ever happen again in history. It's unbelievable. All right, now let's go back and move on. Let's move on. Now, I think maybe I'll skip that for right now. That is a whole other kettle of worms. They are now able to see that there is a connection between Nexium and Hillary Clinton. That should surprise no one. I'm still looking into that. There is an article on Big League Politics that I will get into at another time, but I kind of want to keep this on this in the same vein of today's news. So here is Eric Trump. Thank you. Despite nonstop harassment, our country has never been stronger economically, militarily, from a jobs perspective, etc. It makes it worth it. Donald Trump will go down as one of the greatest American presidents. I am very proud of him today, and today the system worked. Now, he was responding to Shaken Grain. The whole world will be extremely grateful for the efforts and sacrifices your father and your family are making for this country. Amazing to watch, scary to think where we could have been. So many of us never knew the true peril. Godspeed. So, and Eric Trump, obviously very, very proud of his father, and he's right. Today, the system worked. All right, and this from Greg Gutfeld. Watching CNN is like peering in through the window of a group therapy session in which everybody keeps saying they're over X, but they can't stop talking about X. I like that. And Laura Ingram. But is Hillary and company transparent and forthcoming when investigated? If destroying thousands of emails and smashing BlackBerry devices is transparency, yes. Yeah, well spoken. And Kellyanne Conway's message to the media, the big lie that you let fly for 2 years, it's over, folks. It's over. Yeah. It is definitely over. And this from, Representative Lee Zeldin said, I'm deeply troubled by a Democratic Party pledge to resist, oppose, impeach, and obstruct everything and anything. I'm deeply troubled that for 2 years, Representative Adam Schiff said to the American public he had more than circumstantial evidence when he was actually just full of Schiff. Yes, and Kathy Nasios responds and says, what you have described is treason. That's correct, folks. That's exactly what it is. It's treason. And isn't it funny how he just kept saying over and over, oh yeah, I've seen the evidence. Yeah. Oh no, there's lots of evidence, right? Right, there's so much evidence that Mueller didn't find any of it. So, yeah. Anyway. And this from Lee Zeldin, responding to his own post where he says, I'm deeply troubled. He says, he responds and he says, I'm deeply troubled by the way the Clinton email probe ended, the way the Trump-Russia collusion probe began, and how some at the DOJ, FBI abused FISA for the Page spy warrants. I'm deeply troubled by how the justice system was weaponized, attempting a takedown of Donald Trump. And you know what? That's exactly what it was. Now, for a little bit of humor, here is Mueller with in amongst a bunch of flowers. And it says, I investigated Trump for 2 years and all I got was this lousy t-shirt. You gotta like that. I mean, seriously, you gotta love it. All right, and this from Mark Meadows. A good theme to look for in politics: when you have the facts, pound the facts. When you don't have the facts, pound the table. My Democrat colleagues are doing a lot of table pounding today because they don't have the facts. There was no collusion. It's over. Yep, it's over. All right, and this from I Stand With Trump, Clear Flynn Now. Mueller report concludes allegations against Carter Page used to justify a FISA spying campaign against him were false. But then we already knew that, didn't we? Why? Because of Q. Oh yeah, but Q's just a LARP, right? Isn't Q just a conspiracy theory? And Mueller report concludes allegations against Carter Page. This says basically the same thing. And by the way, the Mueller report is 448 pages long. And if you can get through all 448 pages in a day, you let me know, because you're a faster reader than I am. But Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez claims that she's read it all. Yeah, and she had a statement on it too. Yeah, she must be the fastest reader in the world. I mean, I read really fast. I couldn't get through it. Yeah. But she did. Yeah, she claims she did. Oh, and I believe her too. Okay. Oops. All right, and this is a little bit off topic, but I have to bring it to you because I think most of you will find this to be good news. Trump to enforce housing aid ban for illegal immigrants. And I agree. Why should illegal immigrants get aid with housing when there are veterans and American people that are living on the streets? It's not right. It's not right. Get the veterans, get all of the veterans off the street first. Get the American people that are on the streets. Now, some of them are on the streets because of mental illness, because of, substance abuse and what have you. I know it's not just as easy as getting them housing, and I do completely understand that. But for the veterans, I mean, we need to get the people off the street, the people that are American citizens, that were born here, that probably paid into the system their whole lives. Not all of these people are on the street because, some people treat it as if, if they wanted to be off the street, they could get off the street. Yeah, really? There's a lot of people that when the housing bubble burst, they lost their homes, they lost everything. So, yeah, not everybody that's on the streets is there because they deserve it. That really annoys me, actually, when people say such things. It really does. It proves to me that these are people that have been privileged and have never been down on their luck, so to speak. I hate that saying, but I remember seeing a homeless man in Baton Rouge, and he had gone into, I used to go into Goodwill because I love books. I absolutely love books. And it was the best place to get them because you could get like 5 books for like $1. And so that's where I'd read, and then I'd return them back and, recycle them again. So I was in there, and this guy, and he was wanting to buy a blanket because it had got cold, and he was a homeless man. But his dog, you should have seen, the dog was so well taken care of, and he had the dog tied outside. He just wanted to buy a blanket, and he was a little bit short of change. And they said, "Oh, I'm sorry. And my heart broke for this guy. And so I just, like I said, well, I'll get it for him. So I got the guy the blanket, and then all of a sudden, like these tears, and he said, "I'm not a bum, I'm not," and he said, "I had a job," and he started crying. He said, like as if, he had to explain himself to me. And that made me really sad. He says, I don't care about me, I just want to keep my dog warm. That broke my heart, because you could tell that man was not, I don't know. It broke my heart. Why do people assume that everyone on the street is a ne'er-do-well? This man had lost his job, anyway, let's go on. I'm not going to go through and read all this, but I think that most, if not all of you, will agree with me that, illegal immigrants should not be entitled to aid for housing. That aid should be reserved for Americans. All right, let's go on now. Just wanted to mention that. I thought that probably most of you would agree with me. Okay, and this from Viking Scott. He is a listener, and I do follow him on Twitter as well. And he said, replying to Mishel D. Bytes and Bernie Sanders, "Hey, Mishel, Pelosi just threatened the British people with cut funding if they exit during Holy Week. Now we know why Obama and Pelosi were in Germany trying to prevent Brexit." Or Brexit. That's exactly probably why. It's probably exactly why. All right, now, and this is a little bit off topic, but I had to include it because it did make me laugh, and, well, don't we all need to laugh? First wave feminism. We want to be equal with men. Okay. Well, I do believe in equal pay for equal work. Absolutely. And then it progressed to second wave feminism. We don't need men. And third wave feminism. We are men. Okay. Well, I know. Maybe some of you won't find that as funny as I do. I am not a feminist. However, I believe that we're equal. I believe that we're, equal pay, equal jobs. I believe that women can be bosses and all that. I have operated in that capacity myself in many jobs. But when it comes to the demasculation of men, really, it's almost like they verbally castrate men now, and I don't like that at all. Men aren't men. They're not supposed to be women. We're different. I don't know if you noticed, but we're different. We really are. And that's good. I'm glad we're different. I really am. Because, well, I'm just really glad we're different. All right, let's take a look at this. I can't remember what this is, actually, to tell you the truth. Oh, yes. Yes. I think you'll find this very interesting. She says, what are the odds? Coincidence? Connection between The Simpsons and Notre Dame. Now, let's listen to this. Now, look at this. Let me stop this.
Ladies, I'm bringing the peace.
Okay, I'm going to go back here a little bit. And I don't know what that weird chanting is. I don't know what that is, but I don't like it. Okay, so here we have Notre Dame de Springfield. So we know that this is alluding to the Notre Dame because they wouldn't have put de Springfield. They would have put of Springfield or Springfield's Notre Dame or something like that. But anyway, look at the top is on fire. This is 2009 from The Simpsons. So those that said I was nuts for thinking that this was pre-planned and pre-programmed and they planned this in advance, well, here you go. So let's take a look at this.
Ladies, I'm bringing the peace.
You see what happened there? The Jesus is there, and it smashes, and then there's two serpents. And remember, I told you this is a demarcation, a change in. Of course, we'll always have true Christianity, and I realize that, Notre Dame is, certainly occultic in nature, much of it, but still. And look at the two pillars, Masonic, two snakes coming out. I'm going to put that because it's, I don't want to really play their music in my, because I don't need any more strikes against me. Okay, now let's go back a little bit and look at this. You've got the fire, the nuns, you've got the four horsemen of the apocalypse, then they're coming. See, I'm telling you, there's a lot of symbolism here, a lot, and I'm going to have to try and dig up this, the full episode here. If any of you have a link to it, I would love it. Anyway, so again, and it's splitting down the middle of these nuns. One of the nuns are running, and you've got a portal opening up over Notre Dame. Interesting. And you've got something. See, I think they're telling us here, this is a hint to how it was started. I'm wondering if the same type of technology that was used in California was used on Notre Dame. Don't know, but you've got these things coming down from this portal, and I just find this all very fascinating. Very fascinating indeed. And we know that The Simpsons have, predicted so much, even the election of President Trump. And yeah, there you go. A lot of things. So let's go back, because we're not finished with interesting stuff yet. All right. Now, I liked this. I just cut this out, and I know it's a little bit off topic from what we're dealing with right now, but I really liked this. By someone called Tony Paul. Break the law to enter college, you're expelled and your parents go to jail. Break the law to enter the country, free college. Wow. That is really well said and enraging, don't you think? Now, I think we might be at the end here. This is older news down here that I should have brought sooner than I did, but I think while we're here, let's go back up to the Hillary Clinton, and then we will end for this evening, because this is very important. A little bit off from today's news, but still extremely important. And what else are we going to find out about Hillary Clinton? Don't know. It's anyone's guess. All right, now, what's the date on this? This was yesterday. So, court documents, prosecutors asked to present evidence that NXIVM sex cult leaders illegally bundled money for Hillary Clinton campaign. Oh. Yeah. Now, isn't that interesting? And there we have her in her usual coughing fit, and I don't even think that looks like Hillary Clinton. I don't know if, I know that they are using body doubles for her, because if you look at different, like in some places she looks a lot bigger, and then, you know, it's like in an event just a little bit, like a few weeks later, she'll look like she lost 50 pounds. And I mean, just all sorts of things. Like she'll look like she had a facelift, and then she looks old. And I don't know. I don't know what's going on. Well, we probably do know what's going on. Prosecutors have asked to present evidence in the NXIVM sex cult racketeering trial showing that NXIVM leaders, including Nancy Salzman and Claire Bronfman, illegally bundled money for Hillary Clinton's 2008 presidential campaign by compelling members to donate to Clinton and then reimbursing the members. I was there, and I knew that the contributions were made by more than a dozen NXIVM members to Hillary Clinton's presidential campaign. Former NXIVM employee Frank Parletto tells Big League Politics, confirming that the court documents refer to Clinton's campaign. Bronfman's donations to Clinton are recorded here. And I don't, well, we can look at that later. Yeah. The prosecutors state campaign contribution, evidence I, facts at trial. The government intends to introduce witness testimony and documents demonstrating that in 2007, the defendants and their co-conspirators were involved in an illegal scheme to exceed contribution limits to a presidential campaign, primary campaign. Witness testimony corroborated by documentary evidence will demonstrate that at least 14 members of the NXIVM community, including at least 5 defendants and co-conspirators, made the maximum campaign donations to a primary campaign with the understanding that they would be reimbursed by Bronfman or Nancy Salzman. Interesting. At the suggestion of a political operative who has since pleaded guilty to an unrelated New York State bribery charge also involving campaign contributions, the contributions were bundled and presented to the candidate at a fundraising event attended by the conspirators, including Nancy Salzman. A cooperating witness who attended the event will testify that the defendants and their co-conspirators made the contributions in hopes of obtaining political influence to advance their own agenda, including targeting perceived enemies of Rainier. And that's the guy that was head of this sex cult. The government will also seek to introduce evidence of similar conduit contributions to other elected officials, as well as use of other political lobbyists in attempts to gain influence. Bet they didn't make any contributions to Trump. Just saying. 2. Admissibility. The defendants and co-conspirators' involvement in their conduit contribution scheme and related acts described above is direct evidence of the charged racketeering conspiracy, their work together to commit crimes as part of a coordinated effort to curry political favor, evidenced in part by the records of maximum contributions by members of NXIVM on the same day, demonstrates the relationship of trust among the defendants and co-conspirators, which is proof of the enterprise's existence. The same evidence also demonstrates the nature of the criminal relationships between the defendants, which defendants are attempting to portray as a purely legitimate association. The evidence of the conduit contributions is also direct evidence of the existence of the enterprise and the pattern of racketeering activity because it is probative of the defendant and co-conspirators. Okay, well, I'm not going to read all this because whatever, but let me see. Yes, and this is important too. Democrat senator and presidential candidate, yes, presidential candidate Kirsten Gillibrand's family ties to the NXIVM sex cult are coming to light, raising serious questions about her relationship with the cult that she once denied knowing about. Oh, well, so we've proven her a liar already, and her family is most certainly neck deep in NXIVM. Gillibrand's father and stepmother, who are second cousins, were both heavily involved in the cult in the period shortly before they got married, according to the eyewitness accounts from ex-NXIVM employees who spoke on the record to big league politics, and according to court documents proving that Gillibrand's father, Doug Rutnick, was employed by NXIVM. Yeah, that's somebody we want for a president. Yeah, Kirsten Gillibrand. Yeah, let's elect her. All right, Gillibrand's father served as a broker between NXIVM cult leader Keith Raniere, whose initials were branded on his female sex slaves, and then New York Attorney General Elliot Spitzer, and resolve Raniere's financial problems with the state, according to ex-employee whistleblower Joseph O'Hara, whose revelations are printed below. Gillibrand's stepmother, Gwen Belcourt, got hooked on the cult, as did Bill Clinton's close friend, Richard Mays. According to the whistleblower, Nancy Salzman, the NXIVM president, acted as a personal guru for Gillibrand's stepmother. Ex-cult employee Frank Parlato, who exposed the fact that Raniere was branding women, is working with big league politics to uncover the deep, long-standing links between Gillibrand, the Clintons, and NXIVM. The swamp just keeps on coming. You keep draining, it's like, have you ever seen them like drain a canal or drain, a river or whatever, just to dredge it or whatever. And it's like the lower the water goes, you see all this crap. And then as the water gets lower, you see more crap. It's like that. It's like the more that drains out, boy, we can see all the bodies. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. The first time I ever met Gillibrand, she was at an event for Hillary Clinton in the Hall of Springs in the state park. That was in 2006. I was at a table with a Russian friend and Mike Ruhan and his wife. I was on the Democratic committee at the time and was given 2 comp tickets. Gillibrand came up to me, introduced herself, and said she was running against John Sweeney. This was before all the stories of his drunken behavior came out. He was still Congressman Kickass at that time. I promised my support and wished her well. I then commented to Mike that with her baby voice and demeanor that she was a lightweight. Boy, was I wrong, but the kicker was when the mixing was over and Clinton went to speak, Gillibrand sat with one of the front tables. Yeah, the 3 front VIP tables were all bought by NXIVM, and she was sitting with Nancy Salzman. You can quote me on that, said witness John Teague in a statement provided to Big League Politics. Now, I'm not going to go through all this because there's a lot, but the important part is this is all coming out. Yeah. So the swamp is being drained because it just seems like every single day it's in some paper somewhere about some huge sex ring or trafficking ring or whatever being caught. Now, they are probably working up to the big guys, because when they catch these guys, they're going to talk, right? Because they're going to go to them and they're going to say, look, you know what? We could maybe lessen your sentence if you tell us, who is above you. And eventually, we're going to get to the top. And wouldn't surprise me if one of the top traffickers in the entire world is sitting right there coughing. Wouldn't surprise me at all. And she was in the State Department. Unbelievable. Imagine the access that she had. Imagine the access that she gave away and the secrets that she sold. Unbelievable. Yeah. And yet, there are people that still want to see her be president. Can't imagine. Like that's worthy of nightmares right there. Seriously. Okay. Well, I think that is it for this evening. That is, I think, all the important things. I mean, certainly there's so much. I've probably missed a ton. But anyway, we will keep an eye out. No, we won't keep an eye out. That's very, very painful. Don't keep an eye out, and don't keep your eyes peeled. That really hurts. But I will watch for more posts from Q and for more Q-related news. I do plan on doing a program tomorrow. I know it is Good Friday, but I am planning on doing a program tomorrow. And Saturday, I will not, however, be doing a program on Sunday. I do have church, and then I have many people coming for dinner, Easter dinner. So I will probably not be. I don't want to rule it out completely, but probably I won't be doing a program on Sunday, just as a heads up. And then I'll be back Monday. So anyway, that's it for tonight. Thank you guys so much for listening, and thanks for all your comments and your coffee money and my Patreon supporters and everyone. I appreciate you guys. You guys, you know what? And I'm not trying to, give you all swelled heads, but I really do think that I have the best listeners. And if you don't believe me, you go down and look through the comments at how polite everyone is to one another. Really. If you think that I'm just putting you on and I'm just saying that, whatever, read down through the comments and I think you'll go, yeah, these are pretty good people. So anyway, there you go. All right. Have a good night. Sleep well. Stay safe. Seek truth. Deception bites. See you tomorrow.